Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, joined once again by Dr. Kirk Elliott and Kirk, KEPM.com. So we have an incredible day today. We have a 13-year high, multi-year high that we've hit. It's like, I think last time I checked was 39, I think 15, maybe a little bit more now. So, we've been talking about this for years. It was going to hit these highs and then go beyond. What are your thoughts on why this is happening and what it looks like in the future?
Well, why anything happens in the world of finances is basically a function of supply and demand, right? So when you look at COMEX, the available supply of silver is like literally it's diminishing. The number of short positions on silver right now is the most I've ever seen ever. Like literally ever. So you've got people that are going to have to start covering their shorts. And so when you've got these massive amount of short positions, and it kind of makes me a little bit giddy because the banks are going to get stuck hard, right? When you have a short position, you make money when the price goes down. Leveraged money, right? When a price goes in the wrong direction, you lose leveraged money. Well, silver's gone when since the last time we talked, I think it was maybe just hovering a little bit over 36. This was 2 weeks ago. Like this wasn't a long time ago. 2 weeks ago, and 36 was this major threshold of kind of resistance, right? It would go up and it went in this trading band for months where it hit 36, come down, hit 36, come down, hit 36, come down. And you and I talked about it. When it breaks through 36, that old resistance becomes the new support, which means the old ceiling becomes the new floor. And sure enough, it did that. Like, and now we're seeing where it went to 37, then it went to 38, and now we're 39. I mean, this has all happened within like a week, right? So this new platform, this new base, I think is the springboard to silver moving up. Now, there's other reasons other than just fundamental reasons why it does this. So you've got a low supply and massively high demand, but now you've got what Trump just did with copper and slapped a 50% tariff on copper. Right? So what does that have to do with silver? Well, there's very few just pure silver mines anywhere in the world. They're always in conjunction with the copper mines, right? The veins of copper and silver tend to run together in the earth, I guess. And so with you have a 50% now tariff on copper, what's that going to do for the demand for copper? It's going to come down. So what is that going to do for the miners? They're not going to mine as much. What is that going to do for silver mining? Well, it comes from copper mining. So now the supply is going to be even less. And so you look at these things and you say, good grief. The technical considerations, the fundamentals, the potential that Trump is now telling Jerome Powell that he's got days left, right? He doesn't want that guy in office. And so who's going to come next? Somebody who's going to lower interest rates. Powell's not lowering interest rates because he knows that'll drive us into a recession, and he knows that Trump's going to get blamed for it. I think this is very political, right? So the next person that comes in is going to lower interest rates. What does really, really well when interest rates come down? Both gold and silver do, right? So I think a lot of this is projecting into the future what they think is coming, but that's not all of a price movement. Most of the price movement is the here and now, supply and demand. And this is why you and I, you're much more of a market technician than I am. Like I look at the fundamentals, you look at the technicals. Both of our methodologies are putting together like a puzzle piece right now. It's like, oh my word, we've got everything in confirmation with each other.
Yeah, so we see the highs back in the late 70s, and then the highs in 2008. What was that? 9, 10, 11, around in that time frame. So we're moving in quickly on all-time highs. I want to have everybody look at these spikes that led us to these all-time highs, and then it just fell off. These very, very fast spikes and then fall off. Now you see here where we spiked and then we basically went sideways down a little bit, building a good base. Same thing here, spike, building a nice base, and then go up. So we're not going to see this thing spike and go down again. And what you're talking about, the fundamentals, that's the thing that's going to keep this thing continually going higher and higher and higher again and again. We've seen gold like when we go back in where silver spiked. If you go back in that time frame where gold spiked as well, silver has not reached a new high. Gold has 4 times gone up 4 times. Imagine silver going up 4 times its all-time high. And these are what we've been talking about for a long time. Over $100 easily, could be 200. If you're Bix Weir, he's saying 600. So yeah. I like his formula better. But bottom line, we're going to see, I believe, very easily $150 silver from here. That's incredible highs. We're at this point, we're blowing away a lot of crypto for year to date. Yes. Higher percentage gain than a lot of crypto, even though it's spiking today. Crypto is spiking very hard today in the altcoins and so forth. We're still in silver. We're still ahead. Silver is acting like Bitcoin on fire right now.
It is. And some of the crypto that I've been watching for a long time, I've never been a huge Bitcoin. However, some of the other ones, XRP,
right,
cruising right along. XLM, cruising. Aave, Sui. I mean, they're all just doing incredibly well right now. And Solana, it's like, oh my word. So the technology behind Solana, what is it? It's a platform that you can build smart contracts on, just like Ethereum. Ethereum's expensive and slow. Solana's fast and cheap. So as you look at that, it's like, no wonder they're doing so well, right? It's like, but why do cryptos? Okay, so this is an interesting thing. As I've looked at cryptos, watch their movements. Bitcoin and the crypto space doesn't do well when the stock market comes down. The stock market's going up, crypto's going up. So this is, I think, one of the first deviations from that we're starting to see where, and to me, that has never made sense. Like literally, that has never made sense. Because it would be more of a flight for something different, a flight for quality. Like people go into gold and silver when the stock market's tanking. People would go into crypto. But I think the liquidity, the capitalization to go into crypto is coming from the stock market, which is why they've tracked together. This is the first time that I've seen that we're starting to see stock market not necessarily doing so hot. Like it hasn't crashed yet, but it's just there. Right. And crypto is starting to explode because I think people are now starting to see where we're going rather than where we've been. Right. And I think the world is changing so quickly. And you look at what the Fed did over the last 2 weeks. Since the last time you and I have done a show, there's the new supplementary leverage ratio that basically the Fed is floating for all banks. Now, what is that? So we go back to 2008, 2009, when we saw the big, massive crash, right? S&P 500 came down 50%. The Dow came down 50% because banks had too much liquidity. They had too much toxic assets. And this liquidity, what did they do with it? They decided to lend it out to people to buy homes that couldn't afford to pay for their houses, right? That was the subprime lending crisis. So after that, the powers that be said, well, let's fix this and let's make sure that banks have enough reserves on hand to cover their toxic assets. What did they use for that? It had to be cash, right? So they had to make sure they had enough cash on hand to basically be a good ratio against their toxic assets so banks wouldn't fail. Well, that it worked a little bit, I suppose, until now. 2 weeks ago, the Fed floated another SLR, and Scott Bessent just talked about this 3 days ago on media, where he's saying, you know what, we're going to change the SLR, the supplemental leverage ratio requirements, and allow U.S. Treasuries to be the safe haven, risk-free asset that backs up banks' toxic assets, not just cash, Treasuries, right? So I look at that and I'm thinking, this is jacked up, right? The U.S. Treasuries are down 10% in the first 6 months of this year. Is that really a zero risk asset when it's down 10% in the first 6 months? So why would they do that? Why would the Fed truly want this to be done? Why do banks need treasuries? Well, because the rest of the world doesn't want US treasuries anymore. So how about we build in demand for it and say all banks can now use treasuries to actually backstop their toxic assets? Now, what else did they do in this floating of this idea, which is Bissent said looks like it's probably going to pass, right? So, and that is the amount of reserves are now down to 3.5% of all bank deposits. 3.5. So that means out of every $100 that you put in the bank, they're lending out 96.5 of it. So they got $3.5 back, and that is being held in treasuries as the safe haven asset rather than cash. This to me screams 2008 and 2009 all over again. And it screams that banks have no liquidity, which is why they're having to bring in US treasuries to actually supplement their horrible liquidity. I smell the 2008, 2009 all over again, but I also think what happened was Silicon Valley Bank and First Republic and Credit Suisse and Signature Bank, the regional banks that failed a couple years ago. This one, I don't think is going to be regional banks. When this one falls, this could be something much bigger, right? And so we are on the verge of something, I think, devastating to the global economy. And Michael, one other thing that points to this for me is the Japanese bond. You look at the yen, and I was just looking at this chart. It was on July 7th, the yen was at a yield of 2.8. On July 8th, it went to 3.05. That's a 7% increase in the rate in one day, right? And so what's the problem with this is not that it's at 3%. Problem is it's been at 0% for decades. That this was the Japanese yen carry trade. You could borrow yen at 0, and then you could take that in arbitrage and buy European treasuries or US treasuries at 2 or 3%. Well, who would do that? International money center banks, hedge funds, countries, right? It's like, well, let's borrow at 0, billions of dollars worth of yen, and then it's risk-free when you're buying another corporate debt instrument, right? So that's what grew the global economy since the 1980s was the Japanese yen carry trade. Now that the yen is over 3%, the carry trade's over, which means the financing arm for the global economy is toast. It's done. So what is that going to mean? Why doesn't the yen keep being that carry trade vehicle? Well, because they can't. It's 0% for so long, their inflation is out of control. They have to raise interest rates to slow down their inflation. Their time in the sun is done. Ooh, but wait, what about the US dollar? Maybe it could be the US dollar carry trade if you start flooding these banks with all these treasuries, built-in demand for the currency. You bring in somebody after Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. Maybe Trump wants the US dollar to be the carrying arm for the global finance moving forward. The thing is, we don't know. We don't know what this is going to hold, except that interest rates globally are rising. Trump wants Powell to lower interest rates, and he won't. And we've got this inflation. We've got these new tariffs, and Trump is on a rampage to increase tariffs throughout the world again because, A, the countries aren't listening. They still haven't gone to a even playing field. So Trump's fine. You're going to not play fair and play nice in the sandbox with us? Fine. We will raise your tariffs. You want to sell to Americans, you're going to have to pay the price. That's all that a tariff is. And is Trump going to win on that? Yes, he will win because we're not a small country. Because we're a big country and everybody wants to sell to us, these countries are eventually going to capitulate. Right? And they're going to say, all right, fine, we'll just do the tariffs. We can't lose the U.S. audience to sell our goods to, right? So this war, this economic war that we're seeing is possibly, long answer to your short little question, why is silver going up? part of the flight for quality. There's so much uncertainty and so much turbulence. That's the stuff that when you add that to the fundamentals, normal fundamentals, and the technicals, this is why I think silver has some serious legs in this move. And it's everything we've been talking about, Michael, for the last 2 years seems to be right underneath our nose right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you superimpose the downside of the stock market, right now I have silver up. You see these spikes going back in time. This was, several times 2020. Let's look at the Dow Jones in 2020. It went down. You go back over here, 2008, 2009, where the stock market went down. You go back over to silver, you're going to see it goes up. It spikes, right? So it's going to be the same. We're already starting to see, everybody's starting to read that this economy is getting ready to stop. It's going to really get slammed, like probably, and we've talked about this, probably like we have never seen it in generations, because it's so corrupt. And I think Trump is doing a great job of exposing the corruption and taking the corruption out. And that has to lead to a lot of financial, manipulation, Federal Reserve and banksters and all that kind of stuff. They're going to fail. And then the new system comes in. So that's a new system, or the old system, which has suppressed silver so they could use it. We've talked about this many times for, military industrial complex type stuff, satellites, solar. The demand is more than can be met with silver coming out of the ground. And that's been going on for years. So now we're going to see that reverse, because supply and demand. If you have, not enough supply and demand is higher, prices go up, unless it's silver. So that's starting to unwind. And like we talked about, gold 4 times its, all-time high, and silver has not hit it yet. So you're going to see an explosion that's going to make crypto look like, little boys compared to men. And that's what we're already on that trajectory right now. Easily, I think 60, 70, maybe even higher this year, and then double that next year when things really start to unwind.
I agree. I think the ratio between gold and silver has gone from like 92 to 1 to 88 in 2 days.
Wow.
2 days. So we've been building up at our company for a ratio trade to go from silver to gold for over a year. This is why we're allocated into silver. The ratio tells us we should be in silver. Well, when it hits 70 to 1, we're going to start sending out the messaging to everybody. It's like, okay, got to fill out your paperwork. We're going to hit the first ratio trade right at around 55 to 1. This could happen way quicker than what we think. If we've gone down 3 points in 2 days, you extrapolate that out. I mean, I don't think this is going to happen in a matter of a couple of weeks, but by the end of the year, I bet we get our first ratio trade as silver continues to greatly outperform. And this is just exciting for everybody who's listened and acted over the last couple of years. It's like, I think we're going to get the first of 2 ratio trades by the end of this year. And that's only months away, right? So I think it's going to happen in the fourth quarter. And again, I'm not God. I don't control the markets. Timing is out of our control. But boy, it's sure looking and feeling like this is about to happen.
Yeah, and that's when we talk about the ratio trade. I mean, you can do it on your own, but why not have an expert? Geez, I cannot. I can tell you guys, I used to take my silver and gold and like sell it when it hit that peak that I was showing you guys back in 2011. Man, that's a pain in the butt, and you really feel like you're getting ripped every time you go down there. So you don't get ripped with Dr. Kirk Elliott's team. Absolutely not. I'm so thankful of all this stuff. So what I found on your site, and I love this, and everybody can reach the site at kepm.com and tell them, you're sent by Jaco, but to get your own free consultation. But if you click on the silver gold, whatever the number is, you're going to get a chart. And I love this. So you see it's spiking right now. Now you can go into where it says Dow Jones. You can get the Dow Jones is only up 10% this year. Silver's up 33% actually year to date. So this is like a longer term. So it's fantastic. So you can go in and play with it. S&P, everybody's like, oh, the S&P is basically the standard 10% over 20%, difference. The FTSE 100, the UK stock, not even close. And then, of course, crude oil is in the hole, so down 20%. So that's 45% difference right there. If you invested in crude oil, the U.S. dollar, because everybody's like, I want to be in the dollar, I want to hold my dollars, and we have tried to convince people, Dr. Kirk Elliott, that had a lot of money in dollars, and they're like, I'm going to hold my dollars, and I'll put a little bit in silver, and we're like, okay, but look at that difference now. We're looking at probably 30, 40% difference in, if you held your dollars over this period of time, you're really in the hole. So the dollar is going to continue to go down. Now, we might get a little pushback on the dollar going up, but overall, we're going to see the dollar continue to go down. It might get a little spike like we talked about, but that's it.
I agree. I mean, time and place for everything. If you're sitting on the fence, I would urge you to take advantage and get in before prices go up any further. And for all of you who have allocated already over the last couple of years, this is really good. Your time is about to come. It's just really amazing.
I'm so excited. The things we've been talking about, I get chills right now. The things we've been talking about for years, and I know that a lot of people have been listening to us and have been invested and have invested with you and your team. So I'm super excited. You can, if you're anywhere in the world, you can invest with Dr. Kirk Elliott. So contact his team, because I know you guys in the rest of the world are getting hit even harder than we are going to get hit here in the United States, and probably already are. So definitely an opportunity. And of course, you have your silver in the vault, a very secure vault, and not in some of your countries, which are very suspect. I mean, it's a mess out there. So it's going to get a little messier, but before it gets better. But that's going to be better for everyone in the long term. And if you're in silver and then do the ratio trade into gold with Dr. Kirk's team, you don't have to worry about it. It's done for you. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So I'm looking forward to it. Any final words?
No, just I would act. If you're thinking about it, I wouldn't delay. Not with these prices. I mean, silver's up $1.50 today. Today's only half over.
5%. Right? Yep.
Yeah, it's just doing really well.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Thank you very much. Always appreciate your incredible insights, and we look forward to more in the future. Thanks a lot.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.